What's cracking, people? Angelic Mayhem here. So, today I have been playing a little bit of Mars Warlogs, and I wanted to share with you the intro build that I have been working with. Specifically, how I have upgraded Roy in the early game to maximize his abilities in fights. I think that this is something that is good to discuss, so let's get into it. So to begin, let's start with character. I wanted to make sure that I got as much experience as possible, as fast as possible. So the first two things that I leveled up were Quick Learner and Combat Spirit, both of which grant additional experience from defeating enemies. I also picked up Snooper, which allows me to loot bigger and better stuff from dead enemies, and Apprentice Handiwork, which allows me to craft health packs and things like that. Now over here in the skill side of things, that's where things are very interesting. There are 3 different build trees, but obviously Technomancy is something for later in the game, so it's not even available at first. So we're only really dealing with 2 of them, Renegade and Combat. Renegade is where you're going to want to be putting most of your stuff, and specifically you're going to want to spend a lot of your points on your sneaky stuff. If you can enter into a battle in stealth mode and then attack an enemy from behind, you can almost always remove one enemy from the battle before the battle even begins. And that is a tremendous advantage, because otherwise it's the difference between facing 4 guys and facing 3 guys. So I spent a great deal of time trying to make Roy as stealthy as possible. The first one is Deadly Shadow, which allows me to do significant damage from behind. And then moving upward in the ring, after I unlock this ring, Featherfoot, which allows me to do more movement while stealthy. So I can actually run while stealthed. And then up here, this is the third ring, which takes a long time to unlock. But the very first thing that I picked up here was Assassin. And basically what Assassin does is you can get in behind somebody, you instantly knock them out no matter what. Okay, so it doesn't matter who you're attacking. If you can get in behind them, you can neutralize them like that. And then I'm going to continue to build this over time. These other ones over here are, supplemental stuffs. I wanted to make sure that I could be as healthy as possible, because when you're facing off against 4 guys, which comes up on occasion, especially how I'm playing, because I'm a jerk to everyone. I wanted to make sure that my health was as high as possible. And then this one over here supplements my nail gun and allows me to do more damage. Now, it extends to all guns, so eventually when you get a gun, you're going to want to be able to do, bigger, better stuff with the gun. So I will also be maximizing that as well. Now, switching back to the other side of things, I did not ignore the combat side. However, there wasn't anything here that I particularly was like, man, I got to have that. Except for this one right here, which is the parry. And I wanted to make sure that I could sidestep, and there's rolling and then there's parrying. I wanted to make sure that I could sidestep any attack that was coming at me. So especially like later on, there's going to be an electrical arc situation, so I wanted to maximize this. But really, I didn't need it necessarily at the beginning, so I actually could have left this go. And then this one right here is a 5% physical damage reduction. The next couple of points that I get, I'm going to handle some things in Renegade first, but I am going to come back here to Tough Skin and try to maximize this out, because I think that it's important. Every little bit of physical damage that you can wipe off the board is that much longer that you can hang in there during a fight. And Roy is actually quite woundable in the early going. Some of these fights have been really tough. But I think that this is a solid build, so this is the reason why I went in this direction. So that's how I have Roy set up. I hope that helps you in your early game. And, well, there you have it. Oh, you know what else I'm going to do? Let's talk about the weapon. So what I did was the dust. They are at one point in the game, and I won't ruin what actually happens, but at one point in the game, they need your help. And if you do help them, they will give you the mold bone, which is a weapon. And then you can upgrade said weapon. There are numerous options when upgrading this bone weapon. And you can do all kinds of different things. And if you click on it, you can see like the weapon actually changes and shows you what it looks like and all that. I'm pretty sure that it swings the same way no matter which one you pick. The one that I picked for the tip was Nailed Line. And that gives me plus 8 damage and plus 5% wounding. On the flip side of that, let me go back one. The handle, I used Reinforced Leather. Oops. And Reinforced Leather adds a critical hit chance. And then it also reduces the amount of physical damage that Roy takes when he's hit. So both of these things, now it was a little on the expensive side. I mean, hardware was 4 on this one, leather was 2, and then on the other one, tip was, cloth, hardware was 10, and scrap metal was 8. So what I did in that case was I knew early on that the first weapons that we got weren't going to be any good. I could just feel it. So, like Crack Tube, I did not bother upgrading Crack Tube, even though it did have the one slot that you could do that. I did purchase a handmade machete just because I wanted to find out what it did, and it was garbage. The chance of wounding, you would think that would come in handy, like you could wound a guy and then run away from him or something like that, but really it's 5%. It's, pennies versus dollars. So this really wasn't, I should not have picked that up. But it was worth it just to check it out and see what it did. Now, as far as Roy's uniform is concerned, I have only found the one uniform. Nobody else has given me anything in that regard, so I'm still working on this one, and I have upgraded it. Shoulders, I did metal, and the reason for that is because, now again, this was a little bit expensive, the scrap metal 8 and all that, but it gives me electrical damage, which I suspect is going to be coming up in the Great Escape, and the physical damage reduction is, of course, for obvious reasons. Now, on the flip side of that, the forearms I did in Chitin, excuse me. And the physical damage there is 6% reduction, which is huge in battle. And the health regeneration is 0.05. That's not a lot, but it is health regeneration, and it affects you during battle as well. So just having it, it helps. A little bit, but it helps. And this one is actually pretty cheap too. The metal was more expensive and only added some more electrical damage, which frankly I haven't actually gotten to any electrical damage yet. So I was like, okay, I'll hold off on that. But the chitin was the way to go, I think, for that one. So anyway, that's how I built up Roy. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. I'm Angelic Mayhem, and I'll see you next time.